Good afternoon, everybody. This is your boy, Stephen Wiggs, former Pennsylvania State Constable. Coming to you guys on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I just want to drop some jewels on you guys real quick in regards to the police training that constables in Pennsylvania don't get. And this also basically talks to the guys that like to try and clown Pennsylvania State Constables for not getting it. First thing I want to say to the guys that like to try and clown Pennsylvania State Constables for not getting the same hours of training as municipal police departments, I want to say this. We constables in Pennsylvania are not the lawmakers. So quit the BS of trying to hold the hours of training over our heads. We have nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, we've had constables in Pennsylvania that only promoted over 20 years ago that they only wanted to serve the judicial system. We have a lot more law under statute that we have the authority and the duty to enforce. But constables of the past has only promoted the idea of the judicial system, and that's it. So the state only pushed for us to be trained in the judicial system. Anything outside of that, we had to get the education on our own, such as MOPEC training. We don't get that. So elements of MOPEC we are allowed to get on our own if we can find instructors that are able to train us. So let me give you some examples. Emergency management training. I got emergency management training. Tactical medics training. I got tactical medics training. I'm certified in tactical medics training. EVOC. I'm certified in EVOC. These are things that do not get had by the constables through our state training system today. We, the constables of Pennsylvania, have to go beyond the 120 hours of training in order to be successful in our ventures beyond the judicial system. But we got guys out there trying to hold it over our heads and talk mess about us because they're looking at what's on the books for the state to train us, the hours of training we get up front. Like we got something to do with that. Like we are the lawmakers. All we could do is try and put a bid in for more hours of training. But you want to hold this over our heads. See, this is the type of stuff that I be talking about, man. Where guys just talk mess and don't know anything about what the hell they talk. It's utterly ridiculous and distasteful. That's just what it is. That's what I see. Now let's go a little deeper here. Most of our constables come from different areas of background, such as they were former municipal police officers. I am privileged to have been up under my president in my local association that had an abundance of education coming into the constable's office. He is a former chief of police himself. Yes, he was a municipal police officer, and he made it to acting chief of police. Okay? And guess what? He honors the constable office more than he honors his position as a chief of police for a police department. So, what do he know about the constabulary in Pennsylvania that has him honoring our agency more so than the one he used to work for? You see? So he's not the only constable that has additional education. But most of these guys want to look at what's on the books in terms of our hours of training and don't know that guys have additional education, and they don't care to ask the question. Do you guys have more training? Do you guys have, any additional education beyond what the state has in your basics? Come on, man. You don't know what a constable has outside of that training. I come from the private sector. I come from the world of bail enforcement, where I tracked fugitives for over 12 years, working with various law enforcement agencies. And that education and knowledge and wisdom I brought to the Pennsylvania State Constabulary. I can tell you, I tracked fugitives way better than municipal police officers. I worked with various agencies, ranging from the Governor's Task Force of Delaware, the state of Delaware, and the U.S. Marshal Service as my former partner, and I intel led to a violent fugitive that fled from Pennsylvania to El Paso, Texas. So, do not come here acting as if though the Pennsylvania State Constable's Office, due to the lack of hours we get in our training from the state, don't try to say we don't have nothing to offer the law enforcement community, because you don't know us individually. Furthermore, I would like to drop this as well. A good portion of our constables are older guys. Imagine a man 60-something to 70-something years old that normally would be in a chief's position, which the constable is the chief of the constabulary. Could you imagine that person going through a 600-hour police academy? I can't imagine that. Now, naturally, when people ask me anything about, joining a constable's office, because I know that the hours are so minimal, if you are someone that is coming in fresh and you want law enforcement experience, I don't recommend coming to the Pennsylvania State Constable's Office, because the training is so minimal. And at the same time, you have the authority here to patrol You have the authority here to do just as much as the municipal police departments do. And to have very little training, I'm not a fan of. But if guys come into this agency willing to be a sponge and learn from seasoned guys that were municipal police officers, guys that were with other agencies and have an abundance of wisdom to give, that's different. But if you're coming in green and you don't know anything and you're not willing to be humble enough to learn, you know, I wouldn't recommend coming here. I would say to you, go to a municipal police department, go get some education, or become a deputy constable, come up under a constable. If the constable is willing to work with you and teach you things that is necessary to learn, that can be done. But we got a lot of young, new elected officials in the constable's office. Some are willing to learn. Some are moving entirely too fast and making haste in their actions, and they are stumbling. So yeah, do they make us look bad as a whole? Yes, they do. They do. If they're not willing to learn, if they're not willing to be humble and educate themselves beyond the training that we get up front from the state, then yeah, they will make a lot of mistakes. But then at the same time, we got seasoned guys that has been around a while that don't know anything about who they became, and they've been serving for 30 years. They've been on the agency, they've been with the agency for 30 years, and they really don't know much because they don't do anything. They don't want to do anything more than what they were taught by our state training system. But this message is more so about the guys that like to talk mess about the hours of training that we don't get like the municipal police departments do. It's not our fault. Not the new guys, not the current guys coming in. It's not our fault. Okay? So don't hang this over our heads that we don't get 600 hours of training. And wait a minute, let's back up for a second here. Do you know how many police officers I've come across that has 600 hours of training or more that still don't know their history of their agency or of their being? They don't know that they're peace officers. They don't know citizens' constitutional rights. You know how many officers go through that training and come out still making grave mistakes, but they're trying to attack the training of the constabulary? I mean, come on, bro. A lot of these guys slip through those cracks going through the training of a municipal police system, and they still make bad decisions out there in the field. They make terrible decisions out there in the field. They let their emotions get beyond them in the field often. I can tell you guys about a time where I had to stop municipal officers from making grave mistakes after an apprehension was made. I had to stop them. I had to slow them down. So don't try to make it appear as though because the constables in Pennsylvania only get about 120 hours of training up front, that these municipal police officers are better than us because they get more hours of training when they come out of the police academy and they go out there in the field making all these ridiculous mistakes. There's too many videos out there with municipal police officers making grave mistakes. It's entirely too damn many. But you want to highlight us? Please. So, I'm not saying that the constables don't need more hours of training or their deputies don't need more hours of training. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, outside of the initial training, we do have guys, and I am one of them, I can attest to it, guys out there getting additional hours on their own. But that kind of stuff is not highlighted. So I'm here to highlight the idea that guys actually go through additional hours and pay additional money to go through more training so that we could be sufficient in the field. Okay? So I think that concludes our meeting today. I greatly appreciate the time. I'm sorry I took a little too long in this educational video, but the reality is guys just throw out things that they don't know or have any clue of, and I'm on a mission to stop them. And that's it, man. It's your boy, former Pennsylvania State Constable Wiggs. Catch you later. Peace.